sit in their lazy boy, we call them what? Couch potatoes, couch potatoes. Well, there are millions of people in this world who we could call pew potatoes. And that is, they want some of the comfort of church, they want some of the spirituality, but they don't want the challenge that goes along with following Jesus. And Jesus is looking for somebody who will get out of their comfort zone and say this, I love this one, who says, I may be small potatoes, Lord, but this spud's for you. Well, okay. The fact of the matter is, that's what God is looking for. You can't be what you need to be. You and I can't be what we want to become by remaining where we are. You follow? We can't be what we want to become by just sitting here thinking it's just going to come on top of us. And here's the thing about it that I want you to get. The longer you sit in the pew or the lazy boy, the more, you know this, you start at 2 and it's 5 and you're still in the boy, it's hard to kick that thing down and get out. I mean, you get lazy fanny. I mean, you just can't seem to get up. The more you sit in the pew, the more you sit in the chair, the more you are a pew potato, the harder it is to step forward, you see? And then pretty soon, the longer you sit there, you don't even hear God calling you to get up. You don't hear it anymore. Some of you have done that with your wives. After a while, you just don't hear her say anything. But the more you get up, the more you hear Him, the more you get opportunities, you start to hear things, you hear Christ clearer, and you start to do things that are satisfying to you. You understand? Now, here's the other thing. The other thing is we're afraid. Woo! We're afraid. Do you remember the third servant? Somebody should have slapped him down. He says to the guy, listen, I know you're a hard man, harvesting what you don't sow and gathering what you haven't scattered. And then he says, so I was afraid, and I went out and buried your talent in the ground. I was scared. There's a woman named Elaine Gruder. I love what she says. She says, you know, you can live on bland food. Just spend your whole day just taking bland stuff so you won't get an ulcer. Or maybe you can drink tea or no coffee or any kind of stimulant. This way, you in the name of health, you go to bed early and you stay awake. Stay away from the nightlife, and you avoid all the controversial subjects. Oh, I'm not going to talk about that. So you won't get offended anybody. Or you might even mind your own business and never get involved in other people's problems or spend your own money. And in all of those cases, you can still break your neck in the bathtub, and you'll deserve it. The fact of the matter is, progress always for us to step forward, it's always a little risky. It is always a little risky. If you're going to follow Christ, it's always going to be just a little risky. Now, let me tell you this, because I want to make this clear. The choice to grow is the choice to take a risk. If you want to grow, if you want to get closer to Christ, if you want to do any of those kinds of things, you have to take a risk. Now, so what are we afraid of? What do you think some of the things we are afraid of? Well, let's just take a hand count. Anybody here besides me afraid of aging? I'm a little nervous about that. Absolutely. How about afraid of maybe not having enough money? Oh, come on, you liar, liar, pants on fire. How about maybe you're going to get turned down for a job. You're not going to get a job. Sure, I'm scared of that sometimes. Have you ever been afraid that your children were going to grow up and leave home? Absolutely. Have you ever been afraid that your children will grow up and never leave home? Okay, there you go. So I say all that to say this. Do not be afraid. Don't just remember that every time you choose to follow Jesus, there's going to be a little fear. Okay. So let me close it this way by saying this to you. We're going to have communion. We're going to take communion now. I'm going to ask you to do this. As you come down, to think of an area of your life that you just are just afraid. Or maybe it's uncomfortable. Listen, don't ask me. I hear this often. Don't ask me to pray out loud because I'm just uncomfortable. And people say that to me. I say, well, just say God is great, God is good. Let's thank Him for our food, even if it is a football game. The fact of the matter is, just take a step out. See, just a little bit of a risk. And the next time it won't be so hard, I promise you. So think about an area of your life where you say, God, I really need to just take a little bit of a risk here and step out. Or I'm just a little too comfortable here. I really am a pew potato. And I need you to help me get out from the pew. Okay? All right. Let me encourage you this also. This is Pledge Sunday. So when you come down today, you can leave your pledge on the altar. There's a little place here for you to do that. We're doing three things really. We're taking communion. leave on our pledge card, and then you can leave the benevolence fund money if you'd like to do that. Yesterday I put a young lady in a hotel with 3 children. And that all comes out of that benevolence money. Because she just didn't have a place to stay. Okay? You're going to take a risk now. Risky, boys. We're going to be risky. Because I'll tell you this. Christ took a big risk for you and for me. You know, how would he have known that if he died that I would behave? Or that I would try to even behave? He could have died for me and I would have said, well, it's his problem, not mine. But here's what happened. On the night which Jesus gave himself up, this is just a representative. We don't believe that this is actual the body, but it helps us to remember what Jesus did on the night and when he died. He took the bread. This is exactly what he said to them. What I'm saying to you. This is my body broken for you. When you do this, do it in remembrance of me. Remember what I did for you. And then afterwards, he took a cup.